everybody. Today we're going to do a walkthrough of a building that was built in the 1820s. And usually when we get to a building like this, we just find a cellar hole. So we're going to just take a guided tour through this building. Some of it has been modernized, some of it hasn't. We'll just take a walk through and look at the different things that we see along the way. First thing is this old boot scraper. They jammed a whole bunch of nails, screws, bolts to hold it into the granite. And then we will enter in to a porch. And through the front door into the old kitchen. Has modern appliances in it. An old pencil sharpener from the good old days. The old hooks for coat racks. Old doorknobs. And then the cabinetry, the old hinges on the cabinetry, the door latches. This is all a lot of the old things. And then we'll go off to the room. This was the bathroom. The old light fixtures, these are very old light fixtures. And we go into an old living room with a back door. Notice all the outlets are along the floor line. And the ceiling here has been lowered because at some point they added on to the upper stories, and you'll be able to see that when we get up there. An old stove thimble. Don't be fooled, that's not real brick, that's wallpaper. Go into this room. Another living room, like, with a bow window. If you'll notice the old doorknob, and it has an old skeleton key in it. An old chimney plug. For the where they put a stovepipe in. And here's an old piano, a little tiny room, then another bedroom. See the old door latches? They had interesting wallpaper. There's an interesting old cupboard. Some old buttons inside in the corners. Up here you can see they've put a piece of wood to hold up the old plaster and lard ceiling that's in the cupboard here. It started to fall down, so they put a piece of wood up there to hold it up. And in the room they put ceiling tiles up. Then another, some kind of room, and this is an old linoleum with a unique pattern. Quite distinctive. And at some point there must have been a fireplace in the original buildings before it was modernized. There was a fireplace, and there was something on the other side of the wall as well, and a doorway, and then this beautiful hallway that goes upstairs, which we'll go up to in a minute. Little storage rooms. See, all the cupboards have plaster and laths in them. The old style coat hooks. Places to hang things. Front door that had old ceramic doorknobs. Now we'll go upstairs. It's beautiful handrails along the way. Now this addition, this is a newer part that was added on. You can tell by the doorknobs, they aren't latches, and the ceilings are a lot higher up on these floors. Another closet. You can see the hardware in the closet is newer than the lower floors. Another bathroom. Walk through bathroom. Another closet. And the old light fixtures. And this is another stairway down into this goes back down into the kitchen. And another very interesting piece of linoleum or tile or whatever they called it back in the day. Interesting pattern. More closets. You can see they had some borders. And there's a inscription on the wall. We'll find that in a lot of places that they looked at that sort of stuff. There's the hallway we come up. And this room has had the plaster and lath due to a leak has started to fall on the floor. And now we'll take a trip, an interesting latch. We'll take a trip up to the attic. Interesting space up here. You can see that the lumber up here is sawed lumber, dimensional lumber, whereas the lower part of the building in the basement, when we get down there, you'll see is old cut logs and not sawed to dimension. And the chimney to go out. And an interesting thing about this chimney is when we look at it, it comes up, takes a turn, and then goes up again. And why they did that was so that they didn't have to cut any rafters in the roof and to weaken the integrity of the roof. So there we have that. We'll pause here and go back downstairs and we'll get you some more. Okay, we're back. We're going to go down cellar now. We're back down and you can see the different types of latches and doorknobs and things that they had that were different. Very old style fire extinguisher. Steep stairs. Modern hot water heater. This is the old basement There's an old trap. Probably still works. The old granite basement walls, which are really interesting. Oil barrels. A lot of hard work to haul all the granite in to make a foundation. They didn't have excavators and bulldozers, and you can see where it was all hand split. And then they had to bring it in with oxen and whatnot. Like I told you, you'll see down here, see the beams? They're just trees cut out. And that's the difference between here and upstairs. This is some modern stuff added in, but this is an old beam here with something new added to hold it up. And what we haven't seen a lot of is, right here is a granite pier. They used to hold up the main beam, and there's another one back over there. The bulkhead that went outdoors. And again, in the basement, all the granite had come in. And here's another one of those granite piers that was put in. That's rare. Usually it's wooden piers. And as you can see on the up here, the wooden beams, they're starting to get a little dry out, so they put in these. And then you can see on these boards, this is where the bark would have been, the wane of the board, they call it. And they just sawed the boards out. They didn't try to square them up and make dimension lumber. It was just the way the tree was. They just cut out the boards and put them in. You can see some more of that right here. The wane, see, that's a piece of the bark. They're not square edges. And that's pretty much it from the basement. Okay, I missed a couple of rooms. This is just a little room. It's a baby room. It's got some unique wallpaper. Another thing I do, you check out the photos and you'll see that there's we have pictures of the different kind of wallpapers in this building. Okay, we're going to venture out into the barn area and the L's and look around. You can see the old log beams here instead of rough sawn for the most part. And right here you'll see a 1936 Maine dog tag. And the skeleton key hanging up so you can get in or out. And this is the crooked door. This is the crooked door that you see from outside. And we have a set of stairs that goes up into the top of this L, into like an attic space. And there's the door that went into that room, nicely finished room in the other side. And here you'll see a couple of homemade wooden skis and some other stuff in an attic space here. Now we'll go back down. The stairs are pretty steep, so we'll take our time going down the stairs. We'll look around. We'll see. As you're going to see along the way, we get a lot of places that have writing on the walls. This looks like Carl Buck, September 24th, 19 something. We'll probably take more pictures of that. This area was converted into a garage area. They've had a yard sale in here. and out the door right there that's blocked off. There used to be an ice house. If you look at some of the pictures on the work we've done. And then here, this here is the magical door. And that is broken glass. But we'll go into the magical door. This is the door we all wait for. What do we have? Oh, 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. This is a wonderful old 3-holer. You've got large, medium, and small. That's what you had when you had a lot of families around. So we'll go back out, go this way, and we'll stop. I'll get back to you when we get into the big barn. Okay, heading back out to the big barn. Here's some old artwork. You really can't see it that good. And the door has some more writing on the door. We'll take pictures. Somebody liked to doodle, I guess. And now we're entering into the barn. The barn area. See the old beams made from logs. It's a beautiful area. It's an old barn. And there is some lead arsenate, whatever that is. Probably not even legal anymore. Here's another bag of it. And then we have a bag of fungi Bordeaux, or who knows. These old places had some real bad chemicals and stuff before they really knew what they were or how bad they were. They weren't good, but they were bad. Now we're at the door, the barn door. It has writing on it, names inscribed. All kinds of things like that. There's some writing down here. BHB 1959. For any other writing, I don't see any. Drawing. And here, this is a really unique door closer and locking system. Has antique hinges. See, these are some of the hinges that the girls find when they're out digging, and this is where they were used. And then this here, like I said, is a unique locking system. Little thing here just slides in and locks it like that, and the stick goes all the way through to the other side so that it can be locked and unlocked from both sides. Pretty cool. Very industrious. Some more writing on the walls. We'll go out in here, out into the barn, other area of the barn. This was a barn door that led out. You can see the old rollers on the top of the doors and the old tracks. We find those out there. And then there's a lot of saddle and workhorse leather gear here. And right here, you'll see, this is what's called the rosette. When you see people talk about the rosette, this is on it. This goes up by the head. This here is the blinder for their eyes right in here. All the buckles. And there's another rosette on the other side. So that's where those things go on your, that you find. And then there's some more gear. Another track. And then this is an old barn stall. And then we'll walk out into the main barn. Whoop. Right here on the floor they were very, the ingenuity was great. They used an old horseshoe and welded, this is on what's called a scuttle, when the cows and the animals stood in these stalls, when they went to the bathroom, it would be on the floor. And what they would do is lift up the scuttle and just scrape the stuff down into the basement. And then in the springtime, they would take it out and fertilize their fields with that. Now we're into the main part of the barn. This is probably where they kept the milk and cattle and things like that. And if we look closely, I'm not sure whether we can read it, but up on the walls they've named, this one's Sally. You can see the name Sally up there. And then this one's Bess. And Brownie. Daisy. Cutie, Curly Tail. Pansy. Can't read that one. There's Buttercup. Brass Bell. Spotty. That one looks like Cleo. Beauty. And that was that. And this is where they probably kept the cows. And here again, in the floor, you'll see the scuttle. They just lift that up and scrape the manure down the hole. Here's a board that they had kept for some reason they kept the information there. And another board over here. Not sure what them would have been for, but they were useful. Some more tack. And then here's an old brush that had brushed the cattle and the horses down with. Some old spoons, hardware, leather, a broken buckle. If one side of it was good, they still saved it because they might be able to use it. An old metal pin. Some of these things you might be able to find. You find pieces of chain, brass tack. Now we'll go down through the barn here and into the other section of the barn. We'll go through. There's an old trough for feeding the chickens or the pigs or something. And we go into the barn, the hay barn. There's another door that goes out the back. This one just had a wooden track, just wood to hold it and slide back and forth. It must have went off. Well, it had wheels, that's why. It had wheels on it. So the door, if you've ever found one of those wheels, that's where they go. They go on, there's a metal track at the bottom, and that door will just roll open and roll closed. And again, you can see the old beams and whatnot, some old hay. There's some more horse tack hanging on the wall. And then there's a lot of things here right in the barnway that were new. And if you look at this, you'll see there's a hole in the roof. But this is an old silo inside the barn. This was all made out of wood. It is just beautiful. It's a work of art. All this is tongue and groove boards that were probably 2 inches in diameter. 2 inches in thickness. This is probably 10 or 12 feet in diameter. And it goes up, and it was held together with these big bands. And I can show you back here. This right up here. See that board right there? The tongue and groove board? That's what the silo was made out of, was those. And you can see that's probably 2 inches by 5 inches. Then we go out into the barn. You'll see the hay lofts. Up in there, the hay lofts and whatnot. And up overhead there's a hay loft up there. There's a lot of hay still here in the barn. And here there's some interesting poles and things that are here that we don't know what they were really for or made for. We're just guessing. This one's kind of unique because it's got a tin can on the end. Don't know why or what they used the tin can for, but it's there. And this is all post and beam. It's beautiful. As we come back toward the front of the barn, what they would do is back the hay wagon in this big front door, right here under the opening, and then they would take go back, and they would take the hay, and they would put it up on these lofts. Well, I don't know whether you can see that very good in the light, but up there is a hay fork, and it's on a pulley system, and they could lift the hay up and put it into the higher lofts. And they would back the wagon under here, under this hole here, let it down, and take the hay up and put it on the upper lofts. So that's the barn area. This is a very interesting place. Thanks for watching, and check out the pictures that we've posted on the videos and whatnot. Thank you.